Would you make that? Would you eat it? It is just sumptuous. So it's that time again, it's tea time. So tonight I'm going to be making some crab linguine. We are very lucky that our consultant at Slim Well Group is a fisherman, and he brings us beautiful freshly dressed crabs. And so tonight I shall be making some lovely crab linguine, and so let's show you how to make it. So these are the ingredients I use. I know there's a variety of different recipes around, but I've been making this for a long time. So this is one beautiful Cromer dressed crab. Look at that. It is lush. Smell it. I love crabs. First one of the season. Excellent. Water for linguine, and we have 160 grams of linguine for the two of us. And then for the sauce, I've got some herbs. So we've got dill, parsley and fennel seeds, and then we've got some reduced crème fraiche, and obviously the crab. So let's show you how to make it. Whoops, I forgot the onion. So the onion has got to be diced up really nice and fine. So I have just done half of that onion because it's really big, and my knife skills weren't very good today. That knife needs a bit of a sharp, and so it's not as fine as I would like it to be. But I'm just going to get it started in there, and then I'm going to chuck some water in the lid and then cook it sort of on medium heat until it's soft. I don't want any browning on it, so let me quickly get that stirred. And before it starts to brown, I'll start to get stirring, and then I'm going to chuck some water in there and then put the lid on and get the onions cooking. So I don't know if you can see, there's quite a bit of water in there now, and that will help to cook the onions and make them nice and soft without having them on too high heat. And so lid's going back on. And I'm going to leave them for about 10 minutes. So here's the 160 grams of linguine. So that's quite a nice chunk. And I'm now going to drop that in. The water's almost boiled. And so I like to just bunch it up and then drop it in. And then as the water now boils up, that will all soften down. Just tuck it in like that. Tuck it into bed. Excellent. And then I'll get my lid, chuck the lid on, and that's going to cook for 10 minutes as well. So the 10 minutes has gone and all the water's disappeared and the onion's lovely and soft. So I'm now going to add my herbs. So I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of dill. That's 1 heaped teaspoon of dill, and then 2 teaspoons of parsley, and then ½ a teaspoon of fennel seeds. You might think it's a bit green, but trust me, it'll be all right. Trust the process. And then I'm going to add some reduced fat crème fraiche, which is 1½ sins a tablespoon. And I normally put 3 tablespoons of this, and then I have 3 tablespoons of ElmLea light single cream, but I haven't got any of that in the fridge at the moment. And we have got some of that. John has just found it in the fridge. So I'm going to put 3 of this and 3 of that. And this is, I think that's 1 sin a tablespoon. I will check. So that's the crème fraiche in there. Now turn the heat down, because if you have it too hot it will curdle and it will boil away. And so turn it down onto, I normally just go down onto like a very low 2 or a 1 on mine, and all you want to do is warm it through. So now we've got the 3 tablespoons of ElmLea single light in there, and also some ground salt and black pepper. And so Now, as I say, it's on a very low heat. You just want to warm it up. So just mix everything together, give it a good old stir, and get that all combined. So it's looking something like that. And then I'm going to put the crab in. And so I've just broken the crab up with a fork, and I'm just going to gently, so you don't smash it all to pieces, I'm just going to gently stir that into the creamy sauce so that can heat up. And then I'm just going to leave that there for a few minutes just to heat through. So I'm still on a number 2, just on a number 2 heat, just so that that crab can warm through and melt a little bit. And so now we have a lovely sumptuous creamy sauce. So as I put the linguine in, I am going to be putting a little bit of water in as well, just to loosen this sauce up a tiny little bit. And so linguine is cooked, and so I don't drain it, I'll just squish it over. I'm sure a lot of you do the same, and it will just take over some water. And then if that's not enough, before you chuck this down the sink, just give your linguine a stir into your sauce and see if it's loose enough. And then if not, you've still got a little bit of, so just fold it over, be gentle, and so they've still got all them lovely bits of crab. Now I think that's going to be enough. So let's move that pan away and just keep folding it over nice and gently until you've got all that beautiful sauce. Wow. And you've got nice bits of crab. And all the brown bottom will have just absorbed into the sauce, because that's what it does, and it makes it sumptuous. So all there is now to do is to dish up and then put a little bit of something over the top. Let's dish it up. And so as I lift my spaghetti out like that and you put it in the dish, if you give it a little twist like that, it'll look a little bit more prettier. I think it's quite important to make your food look attractive on the dish. I think it makes it a lot more interesting to eat, rather than just having it chucked on a plate. So give it a little turn, and then do the same again with the next one, and then you get a nice heap. It's beautiful. I don't have as much linguine as John, but I do have a lot of the crab. Equal as much of the crab as mine. So there's another little bit of linguine. Let's pick that out for John. And then I'm just going to divide that sauce up over between the two of our dishes. So there we are, dished up. So we've got a nice little pile of this beautiful creamy sauce with our crab and linguine and all the herbs. Now if you don't like all those herbs, then obviously you don't have to put them in, but maybe put a little bit something in there, because it does give it a lovely flavour, especially the fennel seeds. They do give it a super duper flavour. And obviously all that great big pile of crab and sauce on the top there. And so now I'm going to just grate over the top some Parmesan cheese. So there we are, all dished up. And so it's probably about 10 grams, if that, 10 grams of Parmesan cheese on each of those. And this is what I use. John gets that from Lidl's, and it is really very tasty and goes extremely well with the crab tagliatelle. And so we're off to eat that. Would you make that? Would you eat it? It is just sumptuous. Until next time, bye bye.